Good afternoon and welcome, everyone. We're going to give it just one more minute to ensure everyone is able to join. I want to be sure you're aware that this is for personal and corporate fund holders. We did do a separate webinar for nonprofits earlier today that was recorded, and this is also being recorded. Please note you are all muted and cameras are off. Any questions, please put in the Q&A and we will address at the end. And while we're getting started, we're going to make some introductions and launch a quick poll just to see where everyone is as far as logging into the system. So I am Sarah Piner, Senior Vice President of Philanthropic Advancement here at Foundation for the Carolinas. I want to turn it over to Pareen.
Hi, everyone. I'm Pareen Yanakioni. I'm the Assistant Vice President of Plan Giving here for the Personal and Family Philanthropy team. I'll be managing the Q&A throughout the webinar. I'll pass it off to Jen.
Hi, I am Jennifer McClave. I am the Vice President and Director of Marketing and Innovation, and I've been acting as the project manager for the portal implementation. And I will, a little bit later on in the presentation, be doing a full demo of the site for you. Pareen, how is it looking for any of the poll answers?
We have almost everyone, but we can go ahead and just publish those results.
Okay. I mean, for those of you who have logged in already, we're so happy that well, so far we have a lot of people that did.
Yeah,
So
that's great.
That's wonderful. And hopefully you'll find this very helpful and informative and might answer some other questions that you have about how to use the portal. If anybody has not yet and just hasn't responded to the poll, we will have a little section where we talk about logging in, and I'll show a little bit about logging in the demo as well. But we're really excited to share with you. And let me just show you what the agenda is going to be. So Sarah is going to be taking you through an overview of what the enhancements are, as well as what's on the roadmap. This is not the end of the road for this. We are happy that it's a much better product for you, but we also have many more improvements that are slated to be coming, over the next months. So we're excited to share those. We'll quickly show you the login screen, a quick overview of the dashboard, and then I will take you through a demo before opening it up for more questions. I'll pass it off to Sarah.
So we want you to know that we heard you regarding the old portal and are very excited to share this new one with you and highlight a few enhancements. First of all, very simplified navigation that lets you see your full fund picture at a glance. It is now also very mobile friendly, making it more convenient to give. We also have now access to Google Pay and Apple Pay for making contributions to your funds. We have given easier access for you to give to past grantees, and also recurring grants can be managed in the portal. I do want to note that any previous recurring grants that were entered are still there in the system. They're just not visible yet. They will be by the end of this month. And we have new functionality that makes it much easier to give to our FFTC community impact funds, our initiatives, regional affiliates, and any other FFTC-focused funds. So this new portal will evolve and grow with us. That is one thing we are incredibly excited about. It can change as we change. There are already new enhancements in the works, both on the portal and with your fund statements. So please continue to provide us with feedback so we can make continuous improvements. Here are just a few upcoming enhancements that are highlighted. So fund holders logging in at both Foundation for the Carolinas and Foundation for the Charlotte Jewish Community will have access to separate portals. And then once logged in, if you want to go to the next slide, just a quick highlight, your dashboard has a menu on the left, some articles on the right, and I'm going to turn it over to Jen. She's going to take you through a full demonstration of the portal.
Okay. So this is the login page that you will get to if you're on the FFTC site. The FCJC site looks very similar, different branding. The first time you log in, for anybody who has not logged in yet, please enter the email address where you received the email. So then you need to use the email address that is in our system for the fund. So type in that email address and click reset password. So for the first time, don't try to use your old login credentials. We need to set a new password, but it's very simple once you do that. Once you have your credentials, you will log in and you will come to the dashboard. On the left-hand side, you will have more action-based activities here. In the middle, you have information about your fund and pending grants. And on the right, we have some sections that's called articles. For right now, we're starting off with them being useful utilitarian articles that help you get used to the portal. So when you click in, you will actually come to a full page, has some links on how to recommend a grant, how to contribute to your fund. They're videos that you can follow along with. We also have included some glossaries of key terms, and this is just because the language is a little different than on the last portal, and we just want to make sure you understand what it is that you're seeing, and especially when it comes to like the status of pending grants and things like that. There is a page for investment options that explains a little bit. It has links if you want to change your investment options. It tells you how to do so, as well as a link to the investment performance reports. Right now, it's for both FFTC is on here as well as FCJC. Down the road, we will be able to have different articles on the different portals, and that will be coming probably within the next couple months. But for right now, everything is the same. So we'll go back to the home page. And what I think I will do is walk through the left menu, and then I will take you through the middle. To contribute to your fund, as we mentioned, you can do it online. You can still do it the same way you've always done it if you want to send a check or sending in your stock and things like that. That still absolutely will work, and it will show up in the portal. But if you do want to contribute to your fund, you can do so on this form. If you have more than one fund, you will be able to drop down and decide which fund you want to give to. You just type in the amount, type in a little note. Let's say you're going to do 2,000. And then it will bring you to, the Stripe payment where you can select what you're going to use. We don't have Klarna, but when you're on your iPhone, it will come up to be Apple Pay. If you're on an Android, it'll come up to be Google Pay. So it just depends what browser you're in at the given time. If you want to recommend a grant, you will come to this page. So you click recommend a grant. Again, if you have more than one fund, you'll be able to choose which one to be recommending the grant from. If you want to give to a past grantee, it's much easier than in the last portal. You can just select from the past grantees. This is a test fund, so there's very limited data in here, but most people will have multiple organizations that they've given to in the past, and there's actually search capability in it as well to easily find that past grantee. If you have an organization that is not showing up, I'm just making something up, and it doesn't show up, you can add them. And this is how you send it in for us to research and do our due diligence. Put in as much information as you have. It doesn't need to be everything. As much that can help our grants team do the research to make sure that they are a 501c3 organization. But once you've selected the organization and decided how much you want to give, you can select a frequency. The purpose is required. So it can be as simple as whatever's needed, or annual fund, or whatever, but it is a required field. And then you can add extra instructions for staff. So for instance, if you wanted this broken up into a few different installments, you can type that into the instructions for staff, and the staff on the back end will make sure it happens the way you want. You can select whether you want to be anonymous or not. If you want to share your name, you can choose, again, the test. We have a lot of people that have access to this fund, but then I can say it's going to be from me and my dog. So you can edit these before adding it to the cart. Now, one thing that is new is we have a cart capability similar to using Amazon or whatever you use for your e-commerce. One great thing about this is that you can go back and you can edit very easily before you submit. Say you decide you want this to be 3,000. Now it's updated. You can go back in and say you want to recommend another. And one thing I did want, before I do another, because I do want to do another, I wanted to point out that if you do have multiple funds, you will have a separate tab in here to allow you to transfer between your funds as well. And that will show up where you can just select from, to, and go through the same process. This test Jane donor only has one fund, so you're only seeing this. But say we want to select from the past grantee, we're going to give to Acme. This is just going to be 200 and monthly. Test anonymous. So now you have 2 in the cart. What you can do, you can remove one, or you can decide, you know what, I only want to submit this one. I'm going to unsubmit. Proceed to checkout. And just like with Amazon, you have one that is still living in the cart until you see there are little icons on there. So that'll remind you later if you still have something that you started to do but haven't submitted it, it might still be in the cart. Before moving down the rest on the left, I did want to point out that once you submit a grant, you will get, an email notification, but it will also show up on a pending grant list. This, we know right now, it is sorted alphabetically, which is not the most useful if you have a lot of grants that you've done over multiple days. So we are going to be changing it to be time-based. So the most recent ones will show up. The statuses, once it's been submitted, it's approval pending. Once it has been approved by our grants team, then it will say approved on a specific date. Once it actually starts the process of being paid, it will say payment in progress. And then once it has been paid, it will then drop off of here and show up in your grant history. So that is the order of how that will work. Jumping back to the left, this is a new section for us. This is a place where you can go and look at other FFTC funds that you may want to support using your donor advised fund. And it's an easy way to do the transfer. So we have our community impact funds. We have some initiatives. I have to fix that logo. We also have the regional affiliates. And so this is an easy way for you to look and see other funds that are housed at the foundation that you can use your donor advised fund to easily support. You look in your profile, you will see contact information. You can edit everything except for the email. The reason why you cannot edit the email in the system is because that will change your user ID. The system is based on your email. So if you do want to change your email, please contact either your relationship manager or support@fftc.org. You can select interest areas that you're interested in. You can have geographic areas if you're interested in supporting a county, as well as areas of interest. And you can change your password. This will be probably not something you need to do very often, but if for some reason you're locked out of the account and you ask us to do a temporary password, once you log in, you will want to go and change your password in here. I forgot to point out that your fund advisors are also listed on the left. And again, if you see somebody that is linked to your account that should not be, contact donor ops at support@fftc.org. There are forms to fill out to change fund advisors. And we have a section for historical statements. And so because we are changing from an old system to a new system, we have this period of time where we want to make sure you have access to your old statements. So you will have up to 4 years of statements in this section. You will be able to, if you have more than one fund, you can sort it by which fund you want and filter. And you can also filter it between whether you want it to be a year end, like a full year statement or a monthly statement. And those will just be downloadable PDFs. Let me go back here. So one thing I did not point out, in the middle, you will have these tiles of every fund that you have access to. If you have a lot of funds, there is an ability to search for them, but most people will just see a list of funds that you can scroll down. Right now, again, it is sorted alphabetically, but we are working on finding a way for you to be able to put it in an order that works for you. We have the total balance, and the spendable balance will be available within the next couple of weeks. This is on a test site, so we're testing it out, but once it is absolutely accurate, it will be available to you. If you go into the fund overview, the landing page of the fund overview is right now, it looks like a fund statement, which is confusing, but it is basically a one-day snapshot of your balance. And if you do have an endowed fund, it will show in here what your spendable is. But this is the page where you go to access all your future statements. So you can select a statement. This is test, and then you download it. And this is how it will be. I apologize for not being able to have a really great live statement, but we don't want to show anybody's personal information. So we are using just test data for the time being. If you want to look at grant history, again, you go to the tile for the fund, click on grant history, and all of your grants will appear. If you have made transfer grants to other funds, a community impact fund or other funds at the foundation, there will be another tab that will have your transfer grant activity there. You can download it as a CSV file, which is an Excel file. You can print it in more of a designed report format. You can also filter it by grantee if you want to just print out all of the grants you made to an individual organization or by period. Gift history is similar. You can go in, you can see all the gifts that you've received into that fund. You can download it again as an Excel or a PDF and filter. And then from here, there's also another button to go straight to the recommend a grant. I think that might be it. Sarah, do you think I've missed anything walking through the demo? Oh, you're on mute. Sarah, you're on mute.
I'm sorry, of course,
Okay.
it's only 2026.
Yeah, no, I know.
I was just going to say possibly view recurring grants. I'm not sure if there's anything in there.
Yes. Let's see. So basically, this is an interesting new functionality that we have where you can go in and you can see the initial request. So you see the record that you made this ongoing monthly request. And then if you click to the future schedule, you will see the schedule for actually when the payments are going to be made. If you want to, you can cancel a payment, sort of like you can with your auto ship on, for me, it's Chewy, but wherever you're doing auto ship, you can cancel an individual payment. And so that is a useful tool. One thing to note, if you had recurring grants in the old system, they are going to be paid. They are in process. They are not going to show up in the future schedule yet until we, on the back end, like upload it into the system. So they don't display, but they are going to happen. Feel free to reach out if you want to just confirm, but that we don't want you to worry about your recurring grants that you had scheduled before the transition. And I think that might be it.
Do we have any questions?
Thanks so much, Jen. We do have some questions that have come through our Q&A. And as we're
Okay.
answering them, everyone feel free, if another question pops up, to hit the Q&A button at the bottom and ask. Our first one is, when submitting a grant, where do I put my designation?
That will go into the purpose.
In that text box.
Yes, that text box. Purpose.
And that is what the nonprofit receiving the grant will see, correct?
Correct.
Another question, if I ended up duplicating a grant by accident or selecting the wrong organization, am I able to recall or cancel a pending grant?
Yes, and sort of. So if you do it and it's still in the cart, you can very easily cancel it. If you've already submitted it, it can be done, but we need to do it on the back end. So you need to email support to have us do it, but it's a quick thing for us to be able to do.
Someone else is asking about if they have both a personal and an agency fund. Can you walk them through how they access both of those portals?
Yes, so that is an interesting issue that some people have, and we recommend using two different email addresses to access the different portals. The experience is different because with the agency funds, you're distributing it straight to your organization, and the portal is designed that way to automatically do so. If you only are viewer access for an agency fund, say you have a donor advised fund and then you're on a board and you have agents just viewer access, you could in theory keep your donor access because you can see the same information, you just can't take the same action. But if you truly have two different funds that you need to manage, we recommend using two different emails and just reach out to your relationship manager or donor ops to help us set up the two different logins.
Thanks, Jen. Related to adding a designation, are you able to show where that is?
Yeah.
Just to make that clear.
So the grant purpose is where you would type in how you want the organization to receive it. This actually gets sent to them. So that is where you would put in the designation. Or if you wanted to say just tell them something else, that information goes to the organization. The instructions only goes to our staff. So that is more if you need them to just do something special with the grant on the back end. That is where you would send information to the staff.
Thank you, Jen. There's a question about the grant statuses. So, for example, like if it says pending, what does that mean? I know there's many different stages it can be in.
Yes. And let me see if I need to add to the glossary. Okay, yes. So the way this is accurate, but I will show you here as well. So approval pending is you've submitted it, but our team has yet to go in and actually approve it. Usually they look to check to make sure you have enough money, to make sure that the organization is one that's already on our eligible list. Or if it is a new organization, they need to do the due diligence on it. So they need to do that before they actually approve it. And then after it's approved, there's just another step between approving it. It has to get sent to make an invoice and pay. So each step along the way, you go from approval pending to approved to payment in progress, which is like it's being processed, but they haven't received the money yet. And then once it's been paid by Truist, then it will go on to the grant history.
Thanks, Jen. And as you
You're welcome.
mentioned, all of those definitions are in the Welcome to Your Portal section. Someone else is wondering, can I see my investment allocations on this portal?
Not yet, but that is something that's part of the reason why we chose this solution. Actually, they do have some really great capabilities for that down the road. So that is on our roadmap to be able to do that. So we're excited for that, but it's just not quite ready yet.
Another question we have is, what is the support FFTC program section?
That is to be able to, there are many funds at the foundation that you may want to give to. Sometimes people even think that they're their own nonprofits, but they're actually funds at the foundation. And since they are not their own nonprofits, they would not be in the grant section. But we have community impact funds, which Sarah can probably explain very well, but it's a way to be able to support some of our discretionary grant making for different areas that you might be interested in. We have our affiliate foundations in the region. We have, with the support the 13 county region, and so you can give to those endowments as well. There are some funds. Queen's Table comes to mind because that's something that many people give to as well, and that's actually managed as a fund at the foundation. And so if you go into that section, you can use your donor advised fund to give to those programs.
Thanks, Jen. Related to that question, someone was asking about the interest areas. So if they don't if their interest areas fall outside of those 7 buckets,
Mhm.
is there a place where they can add that?
I can look into whether we can do that, but you can always email your relationship manager and tell them what you're interested in because that will help them be able to provide you with the best service possible and help you. Yeah.
There's a question about the spendable balance. Someone's not seeing it on their portal. I know you mentioned before that it's not showing up currently, but can you walk them through where they can find it in the meantime?
Yes, and unfortunately, I can't the test fund that I have right now does not have it for me to be able to show you.
Can you take them to where the fund statements are? Because it shows up on the fund
Yes,
statements.
it will be in the fund statement. So if you go into the fund overview and select your most recent statement, which obviously is not January of 26, um, you will get to see, and it has all of your spendable down at the bottom there. But within a few weeks, we should have it actually appearing on the dashboard tile as well for you, just for easy access.
These 2 questions are sort of related. One is if I want to update my advisor information or add successor advisors, how can I do that? And then there's another question about if I see something off about my fund balance or questions about a grant, do I submit a ticket or where's the best place to reach out to?
In both cases, either your relationship manager or the support at fftc.org, and we can help provide the forms to facilitate those changes.
Thank you. I think that's about all of them. There's one fun question. What function are you the most excited about with the new portal?
I'm excited for content and the articles to be driven by interest areas that people are choosing. So it really is important that we collect that data.
Yeah. I think for me, I'm excited about the support FFTC programs section because I think, first of all, I don't know if all of our fund holders were aware of some of these other funds that the foundation manages and some of the grant making that we do. And it allows people to do a little research and potentially easily support. So, how about you, Perrine?
I also like the ability to mark your philanthropic interest areas and the articles. I think it's going to be really exciting how we can utilize that moving forward. I think that's all the questions that we have. But of course, if any other questions pop up for y'all, like moving forward, you can always reach out to us at that support@fftc.org website. Use an email address. We'll get back to you.
Mhm. Thank you.
Thank you for your time this afternoon.
Thanks, everyone.